Welcome back to Breakfast Central. We're joined now by our favorite newspaper analyst, Ikechukwu Amaechi, as we review the papers this morning. He's the publisher of the Niche newspaper, and we're very, very happy and excited to see you. You know, I was about to stand and start rendering a special. This in-house joke. Sorry to our audience for not being a part of it, but it's a delight to have you. Thank you very much for joining us.
Well, the pleasure is always mine.
It's always great to have you. Now let's head into the Vanguard newspaper. On the front page of the Vanguard newspaper this morning, anxiety as pump price of petrol raises towards 1,405 per litre. We also have there costing template shows the price at 1,205 per litre. That's the landing price they're talking about. We have here presidency denies alleged frosty relationship between Tinubu and Shatima. I don't regret joining APC, Amaechi declares. We can categorically tell you that is not the Amaechi in our studio. And we'll continue with that conversation later. Nigerian Airlines not delisted from operating to US over safety, says federal government. This is in response to the allegations that we had seen in the media about Nigerian Airlines being delisted from the US. And we have 2027, PDP in talks with Kwankwaso. Obi says spokesman. In sports, Team Nigeria win first medal. I think that's all that we can take this morning. Let's head over to our next paper.
All right. The next paper this morning will be the Daily Times, I believe. Yes. Big story there says federal government charges 10 NBAD governance protesters with treason. Court orders defendants to be remanded at Kuje and Suleja prisons. Police declare Britain and a Nigerian wanted for plotting to destabilize Tinubu's government. Wanted Britain, replies police, says I am not a fugitive. Also, more drama as PDP summons Nyesom Wike set to discipline members for anti-party activities. Also on the Daily Time this morning, military utilizing non-kinetic capabilities to achieve operational successes, says CDS. Reps hail Tinubu over 50% electricity subsidy for tertiary institutions and hospitals. Flood claims 200 lives, displaces over 208,000 people in 28 states. And also debt servicing consumes 64% of Nigeria's $4.36 billion foreign payments in the first half of 2024. The First News newspapers come next.
All right, on the front page of the First News newspaper, I'm not a fugitive, ready to face Nigerian authorities. And this is, of course, the Briton who was accused of being a part of the NPA or sponsoring the NBAD governance protest. We're talking about Andrew Wine. Ajero's invitation due to ties with Britain, says police. Enugu State Governor Mba visits Mike Ejiaga after renaming Abakpa Road after the music legend. Just in case you're wondering who that is, a number of you have known the challenge on Instagram, on social media, that was started by the comedian Brain Jota. I'm not going to try to sing it, but I know it ends with something in the line of go, 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 ngo. That is the man who sang the song, and is being honored by the governor of the state. Even as Brain Jota is being criticized by the crypto community, but that's another conversation. PDP draws the line. No one is above this party as Wike faces questioning over anti-party activities. Finally, presidency debunks rumors of rifts between Tinubu and Shatima. I don't regret joining APC, bringing Buhari to power, says Amaechi. Gumi wants bandits now embracing Boko Haram's ideology. At this point, I don't understand anymore. Fatal bulletproof charm testing. 19-year-old native doctor shoots clients dead in Edo. Wow, Osage, this is not good news. Electoral Committee proposes 30 to 40% salary cuts for legislators and executive. Court remands NBAD governance protesters in Kuje, Suleja prisons on charges of treason. I think we'll start the conversation with that. The court has remanded NBAD governance protesters on charges of treason. There's reports of Andrew Wine and a certain Lucky being accused of sponsoring the protest. NLC says, the Nigerian police says the reason they stormed Labour House is because of Andrew Wine, that he, has a library or a bookshop, whichever you so please, in Labour House, and that's where he's part of, those who have been sponsoring the NBAD governance. I saw an exclusive interview where he said that he's not a fugitive. He was not aware that he was a fugitive. He wasn't aware that he was being looked for. But there is now a bounty on both their heads to the tune of 20 million by the police.
See, we have said this several times. Protest can never be treason. I don't know what the police think they are doing by going these routes. They arraigning 10 people yesterday in court and charging them for treason. And don't forget, treason is
Capital punishment.
capital punishment by death if you are convicted. And that people protested against bad governance. And for crying out loud, is there anybody in Nigeria today who does not know that this country is not being governed well? Anybody who is living a lie, thinking that he can browbeat people into believing that we are being governed well today is simply being mischievous. The truth of the matter is that there is no index of human development that has gone north since Bola Ahmed Tinubu became president on May 29, 2023. So, the bringing these people to court in the first place on charges of treason, I don't know where that is coming from. Look, if you are saying that some people committed arson or some people looted in the process of the protest, you can charge people.
And destruction of property.
You can charge people for arson. You can charge people for looting. But to say that those who participated, that end bad governance, is an attempt to overthrow the government of Bola Tinubu, it doesn't make sense. It is only the Nigerian police that can explain what they are trying to do. Now, coming down to this so-called Andrew wine or whatever, Olive, it beggars belief that a man who has a shop, a bookshop, rented cubicle in the Labour House, NLC headquarters in Abuja, a beaton, for crying out loud, has the capacity to orchestrate a plot that will involve the Nigerian army, that will involve security officials to overthrow a government. Well, and again, the police public elections officer said yesterday they have declared this man wanted, and of course a 10 million naira bounty was placed on his head, and the other guy who is a Nigerian, and this guy is saying, nobody contacted me. I am not a fugitive. I'm not running away. He is on vacation in his country. So, was any attempt made to contact him? What is the level of investigation and all that? And now they are linking it. They said, NLC president. Well, let them tell Nigerians what they know. The Joe Ajero that I know, who is the president of the Nigerian Labour Congress, is perhaps more patriotic than even some of these people who are now on the lunch table feasting on the sacrifices made by well-meaning Nigerians to get us to where we are today. So I don't know how many Nigerians believe what the police.
So is there a possibility, because I mean the reports are that these persons were picked up in different locations. It's not like they were all rounded up during the protest and have now been arraigned, but that they were picked up in different locations and have now, of course, been charged with the same crimes, including the Britain. Is there a possibility, would it make any sense, if the police say that they've been carrying out the investigation and these persons were acting as agents, maybe working with some other characters to destabilize or fund an uprising in Nigeria? Will that maybe add up?
Like I said earlier, let the police bring the evidence that they have. Let Nigerians judge who is saying the truth. You know, conspiracy to topple a government is not a child's play.
Of course not.
It's not something you sit down in your bedroom. And these guys said what the ab initio intended to achieve: end bad governance, to end corruption, to end poverty. That Nigerians are entitled to good governance. Nigerians are entitled to decent living. Nigerians are entitled to other things that will make you look like a human being. Look, we are being dehumanized. We are being dehumanized as a people. We are being treated as if we are non-human beings. And don't forget, the same government that is telling you to tighten your belt, to tell you everything, these guys are living large.
All right.
In the face of all that has gone wrong, the president is buying new yachts, he's buying new aircraft, he's buying new bees, he's living large every day.
All right. Good morning, Paul. Good morning, Paul. Can you hear us?
All right.
Good morning.
Like Paul is
all right.
connected. All right. I mean, there's so many angles to look at this conversation from. Okay, well, we're unable to hear you. Can you maybe? We're having a bit of.
Hello?
Yes, please go ahead. We can hear you now.
Hello.
Yes, please go ahead, Paul.
Hello. I'm hearing you.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, okay. You see, I agree with the man in the studio. This our president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has beaten more than he can chew. If anybody should be charged for treason against the public, it should be the senators, the president, and the House of Reps members. They are the people pulling Nigeria backwards. A step forward, 10 steps backward. What is he planning for us? Buying presidential jet, buying yacht at his age with people's money. And you're charging the farmers that own the money to cop. I don't know. I don't exactly understand the type of presidency we have in these African countries. Let them emulate Traore. Look at what he's doing in his own country, caring for the people. And let me remind the Nigerian police that policemen and soldiers are meant to protect the public, not for the ruler, not for our leader. They are being paid with our tax money. They should protect us. Instead of trying to chastise Nigerians on a very peaceful movement, they will now create an avenue of trying to make it look funny that there are hoodlums. We at times call some of our members in this country hoodlums. Who created the hoodlums?
All right, Paul.
Who created it? It is appalling. The president should know that if he's not ready to rule or the people according to the democratic order, he should step down. That's the simple truth about it all.
All right, Paul. Thank you very much.
It is happening. Thank you so much.
All right. Let's quickly, talk about the Nyesom Wike drama with the PDP. Him threatening to put fire in in the states of other governors who may support, Sim Fubara. I said it earlier, that every time we have a conversation with the PDP, representative or spokesperson here, 2 market days later, Nyesom Wike once again, does something new. And they've always found a reason to not take action. They've always found some reason why they have a different approach with the PDP. They don't necessarily see anything wrong with what Nyesom Wike has done. But then a couple of days later, he does something new.
Well, that is, let me borrow a common phrase now. People in the US say it is Trump being Trump. So this is Wike being Wike. I don't expect anything less than a Wike who has become a rabble rouser, rousing the rabble every time. But again, the question is, why is the PDP unable to discipline Wike? And that goes to the heart of the problem we have as a people and the problem we have with the so-called democracy.
All right.
We don't have democracy. And we don't have Democrats. All these people who are masquerading, they are Democrats, they are this, they are that, they are power mongers. And the level of impunity in the country explains, because there are no consequences.
All right.
For actions that people take.
All right. We'll come back to, talking about no consequences for actions that people take. Let's hear from Samuel. Good morning. Thank you for calling. Oh, sorry, we lost that call. All right, you said there are no consequences for actions.
For actions that people in government take. And again, because also people know that elections are not won by virtue of the vote cast by the people. So they can afford to do anything because they know they don't rely on your vote to remain in power. So Wike saying he's going to set fire, being bigger than the PDP, as it were, should not surprise anybody. They said it was Wike that funded PDP all through the years that after they lost
Party was abandoned.
Power. But the question you need to ask, where did Wike get the money?
Good question. Hold on. Good morning, Samuel, calling from Benway.
Morning.
Morning.
So I want to comment.
Quickly, please.
Wike is not a member of PDP. Wike is just terrorizing the PDP in Rivers State. So some of us look at it that Wike should be pushed out of that place.
All right. All right. Thank you. And thank you for keeping it brief as well.
So the issue is that where did Wike and Nyesom Wike get all this money? Wike is not an entrepreneur, unless he's a power entrepreneur. I think he graduated from the law school in 1997 or 1998. I can't be precise on that. And by 1999, he was appointed a local government chairman, Obiapo. And since then, he's been in government, either being chief of staff to Ikechukwu Amaechi, and then from there, seconded to Abuja as Minister of State Education, and then coming back to be governor for 8 years, and going back now as minister. So he has been in government. Where did he get all this money that everybody is touting that he was the person who financed this thing? But I understand the game Wike is playing, and that is the value that Wike brings to the Bola Tinubu governance table. As long as Wike is there, the role he's playing in all this is to hold PDP down. Right. And as long as we have the judiciary that we have, I don't see how PDP can get rid of
Nyesom Wike. Well,
yeah.
We'll come back to that. Let's hear from
play a role.
Let's hear from Bethel Agu. Good morning. Thank you for calling. Please go ahead with your comment.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to contribute on this issue. Wike is not a member of PDP. And the problem PDP have is from their chairman, national chairman. It's because of corruption issue. Wike is using him to destroy PDP. I have not seen the reason why up to now PDP have not suspended Wike. All the whole thing that he's doing, all the atrocity. And everybody knows that Nigeria judiciary have failed the nation. If the PDP if Wike carries forward to court, they will keep on postponing the case. Before you know it, we enter 2027. Please, that's my contribution.
All right. Thank you very much for sharing that.
Is the PDP scared of, because everyone's saying, they should take action, you suspend him. It's not like anybody who's making these comments is a PDP member. You know, we're all only just spectators mostly. So everybody who's calling for is the PDP itself worried about what could possibly happen if they try to sanction Nyesom Wike? And have they also maybe
I just wanted to add to that there's a new report that is allegedly breaking news. This day newspaper reports that the PDP has called in Nyesom Wike. He's going to be maybe facing the disciplinary committee. So do you believe that anything will come out of this if it does happen?
I think on the other hand, it is Wike that will discipline PDP and not PDP disciplining Wike. It's as simple as that. Look, we'll come out of that. The disciplinary committee is chaired by Tommy Kimi.
Yes.
And Wike will end up disciplining PDP, and nothing will come out of it. I doubt if PDP will come out of this Wike quagmire at all. It's either Wike destroys PDP, and that is what he is trying to do. Look, what got us to this sorry pass?
Yeah.
You could cut Wike some slack. The insistence of the northern flank of the PDP, headed by Atiku and Tambuwal, to contest the presidency in 2023, after Muhammadu Buhari had spent 8 years, another in power, and thereby violating the rotation principle, was what gave Wike this impetus to do what he's doing. On the face value, it would be, or it would seem, that Wike was acting on principles by saying no. This presidency must come back
to the south.
Even after the southern governors had met twice in Asaba and in Lagos to reaffirm that the presidency must come to the south. So, ab initio, on the face value, you could say, okay, that Wike was fighting on principle against the tendency of Atiku Abubakar to insist that he will, and in fact went and hijacked the ticket of the PDP. Yeah. But what is playing out right now has gone beyond Wike fighting against Atiku or fighting against Tambuwal. Wike is playing the script of the man who appointed him Minister of the Federal Capital Territory. And I don't see anything. The acting national chairman and the secretary are all Wike's people.
Yeah.
So I don't see how PDP can, in all honesty, discipline Wike. And of course, there are the courts that Wike can always use. The courts in Abuja. He will always go to court to get an injunction.
So they're standing on one leg for 2027. In fact, they may not even have a full leg to stand on at this point, the way it looks. Anyway, we have another call.
Yes, we do. Good morning. Thank you very much for calling.
Hello,
Chief Ariel.
Chief Ariel. Hello.
Yes, Chief. Please go ahead.
Okay. About Wike, you see, the problem of PDP started in 2015 with the internal crisis of PDP. You see, they were not talking with one voice, taking into consideration the policy of PDP, trying to shift the power to the south. And that is why today you see that the PDP members are equally not talking, because they wanted Atiku to be there. Notwithstanding, Wike is not God. Wike should know that there is a time for everything. Wike cannot contest for the governorship election in Rivers again. What Wike is actually doing is to now to create relevance. He wants to create relevance in Tinubu government because he cannot go back to Rivers again. The best thing for the PDP to do is to make sure that they remove Wike at all costs. It is rather unfortunate that our judiciary, in my function, Wike should be able to go. Have you ever seen a wife having 2 husbands and delivering from all the 2 husbands?
Chief Ario, thank you very much.
It was Peter Odili who brought Wike up.
All right, thank you very much. You know, we always have everyone to squeeze in their thoughts into a minute if possible. Maybe we'll come back to this, but let's quick talk about the NNPC and the petrol scarcity. They of course, have said that they finally owned up to owing about 6 billion. They didn't even state a figure, but of course, they're talking about the debts that are being owed as the reason behind the petrol scarcity. We had Professor. Was it Elebare this morning? Joined us this morning, and of course, he details his opinion concerning the petrol scarcity and of course, the whole petroleum sector. It says the NNPC should not be blamed. That we should instead blame the whoever is the Minister of Petroleum and other personalities who it should be their responsibility to answer these questions.
Well, incidentally, the Minister of Petroleum is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He is the Minister of.
So another thing that was mentioned, if the Senate didn't approve of that, the Senate didn't swear him in as Minister of Petroleum. So can we say that we currently don't have a Minister of Petroleum? We have a Minister of State for Petroleum, no doubt.
It is the impunity. It is the impunity that I talked about earlier. Of course, Muhammad Buhari did it for 8 years. Was the Minister of Petroleum, and nothing changed in NNPC, in the petroleum industry. All the activities remained as opaque as ever. So, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who promised that he was going to continue from where Buhari stopped, also picked up that portfolio. Whether he was sworn in or whether he was screened by he's the ultimate power in the country. So he is the Minister of Petroleum. And the only reason why this APC president want to control the petroleum ministry is because that's the country's cash cow. They want to control the resources without being accountable. So how can you differentiate between an NNPC and the listen? They are all part and parcel of the whole sordid system that has made Nigeria almost unworkable. Look, the chicken has finally come home to roost, to borrow a cliche. NNPC has been telling us all manner of stories. In fact, don't forget also that about about a month ago, they declared a profit
of 3.3 trillion naira.
Of 3.3 trillion. How can you be owing $6 billion
and declaring profits of 3 trillion?
And declaring profit of 3 trillion. The truth of the matter is that they have run out of excuses.
All right. Hold on. Good morning, TK. Or PK, I beg your pardon. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Welcome. Go ahead.
Okay. My take about the PDP issue is that every time they call Wike, you say Wike as you see. When the people of PDP ran away after failing the election in 2015.
Seems we've been disconnected from Wike. Okay.
It was Wike that stood very firm to make sure that this party called PDP did not die.
Peke, we're struggling with your audio. Would have, if you can please maybe call us back, we'd like to hear your thoughts on this conversation. All right, you've talked about NNPC not having excuses anymore because they initially said, there are different things that have been shared regarding this. Our last guest said it's not the NNPC that we should be blaming. That is the Minister of, the policies, those who are the policy makers. In this case, the Minister of Petroleum, and like our guest said, he said the Senate didn't swear in any Minister of Petroleum. So that we currently do not have a Minister of Petroleum, but I guess that's subject to debate.
No, we do. We have a Minister of Petroleum, and the Minister of Petroleum is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The truth of the matter is that Nigerians should better brace up for very, very tough times. Selling petrol at 600 and whatever is unsustainable. It is unsustainable. Let's not make any mistake about that. Of course, the government was denying that they were no longer paying subsidies, blah, 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 blah. But we have seen now, look, as long as we continue importing, the landing cost, and with the exchange rate as it is, when people say that the present predicament we find ourselves in this country today was caused by the twin policies of subsidy removal and floating of the exchange rate. In an economy that is import dependent, in an economy that does not produce anything, you floated your currency, crashed its value, that today $1 exchanges for
1,630 as at yesterday.
1,630 naira. There is no way you can import fuel. The landing cost is well over 1,000 naira. So where are we going to? And then when fuel begins to sell for 1,500, can we all realize the social impact that will have in the country? We are in for very, very tough times.
But here's the thing, right? If the government truly wanted or decides that it no longer can afford to pay subsidy, the truth is Nigerians should be ready to obviously have an increment in the price of petrol. So is this just a reality Nigerians will just have to accept? That petrol needs to sell for 1,200 naira, 1,500 naira, and that's it, if we're truly going to remove subsidy. Or are we deceiving ourselves as Nigerians by complaining that the petrol is too expensive while expecting a subsidy to be removed?
Also, I think the issue is very straightforward. To say that Nigerians should realistically expect to pay more for fuel perhaps is a very logical thing to say. But who are these people who are going to pay this in an economy where the minimum wage is still 30,000?
Yeah.
70,000 that was agreed upon, I'm not too sure that even the federal government has started paying it. And even if the federal government agrees to start paying that, I can assure you,
it's still inadequate.
Over 80% of the states can't afford to pay. And even if all of them pay, it's still inadequate. Also, see, it does not make sense. We said it. There is no government on earth that does not subsidize one way or the other. Energy security is a national security issue. You don't throw the people into the wild and say, IMF, World Bank said this. The Bretton Woods institutions go and look for where they have brought all these, their policies. They don't work. America subsidizes all manner of things, including food. In Germany, energy subsidy is real.
Yep.
So you can't wake up in the morning and say, look, that the people are going to buy petrol at 1,500 or at 2,000. Who are these people who are going to buy it? And have you considered the ripple effect of that on the economy as a whole? So the companies are moving out of this country. folding and moving out of this country because the cost of doing business in Nigeria is simply unbearable. You can't produce anything here. Instead, people will go to China and import the same thing that you are trying to produce here and sell cheaper because it is cheaper to import than the price at which you are going to produce it in Nigeria. So, how can we make progress this way? President Bola Tinubu's economic policies have failed.
Yeah.
And that is putting it mildly. Whether they want to accept it or not, whether they want to charge anybody who is protesting against bad governance with treason,
Yeah.
they will have to expand Nigerian prisons because many more people,
Everyone. All right.
those of us who come on television or write in our columns, we are also endangered species because we are also people that are caught in treason without knowing it. Because if all it takes to be charged with treason is being critical, criticizing the government and saying, no, we should have it this way, we are in for a very, very tough time.
All right. Ikechukwu Amaechi, thank you very much for joining us. As always, we always love your perspectives. You know, it sounds very, very gloomy if we just take a look at, you know, all the stories that we shared this morning. But time will tell how things turn out. Thank you very much once again for stopping by.
Also, the pleasure is always mine.